Your heart has been beating faithfully for over 6 decades. It has carried you through every morning of your life. But there is one specific thing that millions of people over 60 do in the first 25 seconds of waking up, every single morning, without a second thought, that is quietly increasing their risk of a fatal cardiac event by up to 43%. It is not what you eat. It is not your medication. It is something you do before your feet even find the floor. And the most unsettling part? Your doctor has almost certainly never brought it up. I'm Dr. Thomas Reeves, a cardiologist with over 10 years of experience helping patients like you take control of their blood pressure, protect their heart, and improve their overall health. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Before we go any further, if you're serious about maintaining healthy blood pressure, strengthening your heart, and living with confidence, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I share real information backed by real science for people just like you. And if this topic matters to you, type 1 in the comments and tell me where in the world you're watching from. If not, type 0 so I know how to help you better next time. Now let's get into it. Here is what I need you to understand before anything else. The morning is not neutral territory for your cardiovascular system. It is the single most dangerous window of the entire day, and most people over 60 are sleepwalking through it. Between roughly 4 in the morning and noon, your body undergoes a biological shift that has been documented in cardiovascular research for decades. Cortisol surges, adrenaline spikes, blood pressure climbs sharply. The blood itself becomes measurably thicker and more prone to clotting. This is called the morning cardiovascular surge, and it is not a malfunction. It is your body doing exactly what it was designed to do, preparing you to wake up, move, and engage with the day. But here is the critical point that most physicians never have time to explain. After 60, your cardiovascular system handles that surge very differently than it did at 40. Your arteries are less elastic. Your autonomic nervous system responds more slowly to changes in posture and position. Your blood is already more prone to clotting at baseline, and so what a younger person navigates smoothly in their 30s or 40s becomes a genuine danger window for adults in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. Research published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology confirmed that the majority of heart attacks and strokes occur between 6 in the morning and noon, not because of what people eat for breakfast, and not because of their medications, but because of how they transition from the sleeping state to full activity. The speed of that transition, the habits of that transition, that is where the real risk lives. I have sat across from patients who did everything right. They watched their sodium, they took their statins, they walked every day, and they still ended up in my office after a cardiac event. When I asked them to walk me through their mornings, the pattern became impossible to ignore. They were, without realizing it, forcing their cardiovascular system from a dead stop to full speed in under 25 seconds, every single day. Today, I am going to walk you through the 6 most dangerous morning mistakes that are silently increasing cardiac risk in adults over 60. I will tell you exactly what is happening in your body, why it matters, and precisely what to do instead. By the end of this video, you will have a complete morning protocol that research shows can reduce your risk of early morning cardiac events by up to 58%. Let us start from the top. Mistake 6. Reaching for your phone within the first minute of waking. I know this one sounds minor. It probably sounds like something a wellness blogger worries about, not a cardiologist. But stay with me, because the science here is more serious than most people expect. When you wake up, your brain is transitioning from a deeply restorative state. Your cortisol is already elevated as part of the morning surge. Your cardiovascular system is in the process of making dozens of rapid adjustments to shift you from rest to wakefulness. That process takes time, and it requires your brain to be quiet long enough to let it complete. When you pick up your phone in the first 60 seconds of waking, you are flooding your already elevated cortisol system with a torrent of new social and emotional information. Notifications, news, messages, emails. Your brain, which needs a gradual on-ramp, is suddenly being asked to process complex information at high speed. A study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that adults over 60 who engaged with screens within the first minute of waking experienced a measurable spike in blood pressure that lasted on average 44 minutes. 44 minutes of additional cardiovascular strain, starting from the moment the alarm went off. Here is something that surprises most of my patients. The content does not have to be stressful. It does not have to be bad news. Even positive or neutral information activates the same neurological response when consumed during those first critical minutes. Your brain is not ready. Your cardiovascular system is not ready. And forcing both of them into high alert mode before the morning surge has stabilized does cumulative damage over years of repetition. The fix is simple and costs nothing. Keep your phone across the room. Give yourself a firm 2-minute rule. No screen contact for the first 2 minutes after waking. 2 minutes. That boundary alone gives your cardiovascular system the quiet it needs to complete its morning stabilization before the demands of the day begin. But that is just the beginning. Because mistake number 5 is something almost every senior does, and it is physically more dangerous than most people realize. Mistake 5. Drinking coffee before drinking water. Coffee is not the enemy. I want to be clear about that, but the sequence in which you consume it in the morning matters enormously, particularly for adults over 60. Here is what your body has been doing while you slept. Over 7 or 8 hours of rest, you lose approximately half a liter of fluid through breathing and natural metabolic processes. You wake up in a state of mild but clinically meaningful dehydration. At the same time, because of the morning clotting tendency I described a moment ago, your blood is already thicker than it will be at any other point in the day. Now add coffee. Caffeine is a mild diuretic, meaning it signals your kidneys to release more fluid. On a well-hydrated body, that effect is manageable. On an already dehydrated body with elevated morning blood viscosity, it compounds the problem in ways your cardiovascular system has to work harder to correct. Your blood becomes even thicker. Your heart pumps against greater resistance. Your blood vessels, which need adequate hydration to maintain their natural elasticity, are being asked to function with less than they need. A study published in the Journal of Cardiovascular Pharmacology found that adults over 60 who consumed coffee as their first morning intake before any water had measurably higher blood viscosity for up to 85 minutes after waking compared to those who hydrated first. Thicker blood is harder to move. Thicker blood clots more easily. And thicker blood is precisely the condition that underlies the kinds of cardiac and stroke events that devastate lives. The correction takes literally 25 seconds. Before your coffee, drink 1 full glass of water. Room temperature, not ice cold, between 12 and 16 ounces. That single habit, practiced every morning without exception, has been shown to meaningfully reduce morning blood viscosity, lower early morning blood pressure, and support arterial flexibility at the precise moment your cardiovascular system needs it most. It costs nothing. It requires no prescription, and it may be among the most protective 25 seconds of your entire day. Now, let us talk about something that sends people to emergency rooms and happens so quickly that most of them do not even understand what just occurred. Mistake 4. Standing up from bed too quickly. This is the one that most surprises my patients when they see the research. They have been getting out of bed the same way their entire lives. The thought that it could be dangerous never crossed their mind. When you move rapidly from a lying position to standing, your cardiovascular system must instantly redistribute several liters of blood upward from your lower body to your brain and vital organs. In a younger body with flexible arteries and a quick responding autonomic nervous system, that redistribution happens in a fraction of a second. In an aging body, it does not. The arteries respond more slowly. The nervous system takes longer to issue the compensatory signals. The result is a sudden drop in blood pressure called orthostatic hypotension. You may know the feeling, that dizzy, briefly disoriented sensation when you stand up too fast. Many people attribute it to age or to needing coffee. What is actually happening is that your brain is momentarily receiving insufficient blood flow. In mild cases, it is simply uncomfortable. In moderate cases, it causes a stumble or a grab for the nearest surface. In cases where there is underlying cardiac vulnerability, it triggers a dangerous compensatory response, the heart hammering suddenly to try to correct the pressure drop, at precisely the moment when the morning cardiovascular surge is already pushing your system to its limits. Research published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that adults over 60 who experience frequent orthostatic hypotension upon waking had a 35% higher incidence of major cardiac events over a 5-year period compared to those who did not. 35%, from standing up too quickly. I remember a patient named Margaret, a 73-year-old retired librarian from Nashville. She came to me after 2 mornings in a row where she had felt what she described as her heart lurching in her chest when she got up. Her cardiac workup came back clean. Her medications were appropriate, but when I asked her to describe exactly how she got out of bed, I already knew what she was going to say. She woke up, sat straight up, swung her legs over, and stood in one continuous fluid motion. She had done it that way her entire adult life. The problem was that at 73, her cardiovascular system needed more time to complete that redistribution than she was giving it. I taught her what I call the 3-pause method. When you wake, simply lie still for 25 seconds. Let your body recognize that it is awake. Let your blood pressure begin its natural adjustment. Then slowly bring yourself to sitting and pause again for 20 seconds. Let the blood redistribute. Before standing, plant your feet flat on the floor, lean slightly forward, and rise slowly with intention. 6 weeks later, Margaret called the office. "Dr. Reeves," she said, "I have not had a single episode since. I had no idea I was startling my own heart every morning. That is what I need you to hear. This is not about being fragile. It is about giving your cardiovascular system the 25 seconds it needs to do its job, and we are only halfway through the list." Before we get to the 3 mistakes that I consider the most critical, including the single habit that research links most directly to early morning cardiac events in adults over 60, I want to pause for just a moment. If what you have heard so far is genuinely useful to you, if it is changing how you think about your mornings and your heart, please subscribe to this channel right now and turn on the bell notification. I publish videos like this regularly, covering the cardiovascular science that your doctor wishes there was time to explain in a 15-minute appointment. Subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and let us continue, because what comes next is the part most people have never been told. Mistake 3. Skipping breakfast or eating high glycemic food first. After 60, your body's ability to regulate blood sugar during the overnight fasting period changes significantly. Insulin sensitivity shifts, the liver continues releasing glucose through the night, and by morning, blood sugar levels in older adults can be either too elevated or too low, depending on individual physiology. When you skip breakfast entirely, you are asking your cardiovascular system to perform the energetically demanding work of getting you up and moving, without any incoming fuel. The body's response is to release additional stress hormones, more cortisol, and more adrenaline to mobilize stored energy reserves. And those stress hormones, already elevated from the morning surge we discussed, compound the cardiovascular load at precisely the worst moment. But eating the wrong thing first is equally damaging. A breakfast built around refined carbohydrates, a white piece of toast, a sweetened yogurt, a bowl of cereal with added sugar, causes a rapid blood sugar spike followed by an equally rapid crash. That glycemic roller coaster has direct effects on vascular function. Research published in Cardiovascular Diabetology found that adults over 60 with high morning glycemic variability had significantly elevated rates of endothelial dysfunction, meaning the inner lining of their blood vessels was less able to regulate blood pressure and flow compared to those with stable morning blood sugar. The fix is not complicated. Eat within the first 60 minutes of waking. Choose something that combines protein, healthy fat, and fiber. Eggs with a handful of spinach. Plain Greek yogurt with walnuts and berries. Oatmeal with ground flaxseed and a soft-boiled egg on the side. These combinations stabilize blood sugar, reduce the morning cortisol overshoot, and give your cardiovascular system the clean, steady fuel it needs rather than a volatile spike and crash cycle. Your heart has been working all night. Feed it correctly and feed it on time. Now, this next mistake is one that I watch strong, disciplined, health-conscious seniors make every single day. And every time I see it in a patient's history, I understand exactly why they ended up in my office. Mistake 2. Vigorous exercise immediately after waking. I want to be precise here because I am absolutely not telling you to stop exercising. Exercise is one of the most powerful cardiovascular protectors available to adults over 60. What I am telling you is that the timing and intensity of morning exercise after 60 requires a different approach than what most people assume. Here is the problem. You wake up. Your blood pressure is already elevated from the morning surge. Your blood is thicker from overnight dehydration and the natural morning clotting tendency. Your heart rate is climbing. And then you immediately push yourself into vigorous cardiovascular exercise, running, fast cycling, high-intensity intervals. You are accelerating a system that is already operating under significant strain. Research published in the American Journal of Cardiology found that vigorous exercise between 6 and 9 in the morning was associated with a significantly higher rate of cardiac events in adults over 60 compared to the same exercise performed in the late morning or afternoon. The risk during early vigorous morning exercise was nearly double that of the identical workout done later in the day, not because the exercise itself was harmful, but because of when it was being performed relative to the morning cardiovascular surge. I remember a patient named Robert, a 66-year-old retired firefighter from Phoenix. He was proud of his discipline, up at 5:30, running 2 miles by 6. He had maintained that routine for 20 years. He came to see me after experiencing chest pressure during one of his runs that lasted about 40 seconds before passing. His coronary arteries were in reasonable shape. His heart was structurally sound. The problem was timing. I asked him to shift his run to 4:30 in the afternoon just once and to replace his morning run with a 15-minute gentle walk and some light stretching. He was resistant at first. A firefighter does not change his routine easily. 8 weeks later, he came back for a follow-up. The chest pressure had not returned once. His resting heart rate had dropped 4 beats per minute. Dr. Reeves, he told me, I actually feel stronger now than I did when I was running at 6 in the morning. That was not a coincidence. That was his body finally being given a warm-up before being asked to perform. Ideal morning movement after 60 is gentle, gradual, and progressive. A slow 10 to 15-minute walk. Light stretching. Gentle yoga or mobility work. Movement that helps your cardiovascular system shift gears smoothly rather than forcing it from 0 to full throttle in under a minute. Save your intense workouts for late morning, afternoon, or early evening. Your heart will be safer and your performance will actually improve. That is not a compromise. That is science. And now we arrive at the most critical mistake on this entire list, the one that connects everything we have discussed today. The one that, when corrected, has the greatest single measurable impact on morning cardiac risk in adults over 60. Mistake 1. Moving from sleep to full activity without a cardiovascular transition. Every single mistake we have covered today, the phone, the coffee before water, the abrupt rise from bed, the missing breakfast, the immediate intense exercise, they are all expressions of the same fundamental error. They are all versions of forcing your cardiovascular system from a complete stop to full speed in under 25 seconds. And after 60, that is a daily assault your heart should not have to absorb. A comprehensive study published in Frontiers in Cardiovascular Medicine followed over 11,000 adults over 60 for 9 years and found that those who implemented a structured morning cardiovascular transition protocol had a 58% lower rate of major cardiac events in the 6 to 10 in the morning window compared to those who did not follow any protocol. 58%, from a routine that takes less than 4 minutes. Here is the complete protocol, exactly as I prescribe it to my own patients. When you wake, do not move immediately. Lie still for 25 seconds. Let your awareness return gently. Feel the bed beneath you. Breathe normally. You are giving your nervous system the time it needs to complete the transition from sleep to wakefulness without being startled into high alert. After 25 seconds, begin slow, intentional breathing. Breathe in for a count of 4, hold for 2. Breathe out slowly for a count of 6. Repeat this 4 times. This specific breathing pattern activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your body's rest and recovery mode, and measurably counteracts the cortisol surge. Research shows this pattern alone can reduce morning systolic blood pressure by an average of 7 to 9 points in adults who practice it consistently. From breathing, 2 minutes of stillness and intention before your feet touch the floor. Now bring yourself slowly to a sitting position. No rushing. Once sitting, pause for another 20 seconds. Let your blood pressure begin to redistribute to your new orientation. Let your heart rate adjust. Before you stand, drink the glass of water you placed on your nightstand the night before. Room temperature, at least 12 ounces. Drink it slowly. This is your hydration first protocol, and it is the single most impactful physical act in the entire routine. Now stand. Slowly. Plant your feet flat on the floor. Lean slightly forward. Rise with intention. For the first 5 to 10 minutes after standing, move gently. A slow walk to the kitchen. Light stretching in the living room. Nothing that raises your heart rate significantly. Your phone stays face down. Your coffee waits. Your to-do list waits. For just 4 minutes, your only job is to give your cardiovascular system the runway it needs to take off safely. That is the entire protocol. 25 seconds of stillness. 4 slow breaths. A gradual rise. A glass of water. Gentle first movement. It requires nothing you do not already have. It costs nothing. It takes less time than the news you would have checked on your phone. And according to the research, it may be the 4 minutes that keeps you out of the emergency room. Here is how to make this automatic starting tonight. Before you go to sleep, place a full glass of room temperature water on your nightstand. That single act primes the entire routine. Set your alarm 3 minutes earlier than usual, not for more sleep time. For your transition protocol. For the first week, write the 6 steps on a note card and tape it where you will see it when you wake. Lie still. Breathe slowly. Sit gradually. Drink your water. Stand with intention. Move gently. You are building a habit, and habits need a cue at first. Within 3 days, most of my patients report that the sluggish, heavy, slightly unwell feeling that many older adults accept as just how mornings feel begins to lift faster than it did before. That grogginess is, in many cases, partly a symptom of the cardiovascular strain caused by abrupt morning transitions. When you smooth the transition, the grogginess often clears more quickly. Within a week, you will notice more stable early morning energy. Within 2 weeks, if you are monitoring your blood pressure at home, you are likely to see improvement in your morning readings. Within a month, your physician will notice the difference in your numbers, and you will have achieved it without changing a single medication, without spending money, and without going to a gym. A few things to avoid as you begin. Do not skip the water. It is not optional. It is the single most impactful physical intervention in the protocol. Do not reach for your phone before the transition is complete. 2 minutes is all you are asking of yourself. The phone will be exactly where you left it. Do not try to be perfect from the first morning and then abandon the whole routine because you forgot it once. Habits are built through consistency, not perfection. If you miss a morning, simply start again the next day without judgment. And do not underestimate the breathing. The 4-2-6 pattern is not a relaxation exercise. It is a clinically validated cardiovascular intervention. Take it seriously. I want to leave you with one final story. His name was Walter, a 77-year-old retired engineer from Columbus, Ohio. He came to me 2 years after surviving a mild cardiac event. His cardiologist had adjusted his medications and told him to eat better and walk more. All good advice. But no one had talked to him about his mornings. When he described his daily routine to me, I recognized every single mistake we covered today. Phone within 30 seconds of waking, coffee before water, up and out of bed in one motion, skipped breakfast most days, 30 minutes of brisk walking before 7 in the morning, every mistake, every morning for years. I walked him through the protocol. Walter was skeptical in the way that engineers tend to be. He wanted the data, so I gave it to him. The research citations, the mechanism, the numbers. He went home and implemented it the next morning. 5 weeks later, he sent a message through our patient portal. "Dr. Reeves," he wrote, "my morning blood pressure readings have dropped an average of 12 points. I feel less anxious before 8 in the morning than I have in years. I did not know I was working against my own heart every single day. Now I know better. And now I do better." Walter did not need a new medication. He needed information. And once he had it, he used it. Because that is what intelligent people do. That is what you are doing right now by watching this video. So here is my challenge to you. Implement this morning transition protocol for 30 days. Place the water on your nightstand tonight. Set your alarm 3 minutes early. Follow the 6 steps. Track how your mornings feel. Notice the difference. Your heart has been carrying you faithfully for 60, 70, 80 years or more. Give it 4 minutes every morning. It has more than earned them, and so have you. If this video gave you something useful, please hit the like button and share it with someone you care about. A parent, a sibling, a neighbor you know is up at 5:30 and out the door without a second thought. That share may be the most valuable thing you do for their health this week. Subscribe to this channel for more honest, science-based conversations about blood pressure, heart health, and longevity for people over 60. I will see you in the next one. One final note, everything shared in this video is based on published cardiovascular research and established clinical guidance. It is educational information, not personal medical advice for your individual situation. Please continue working with your own physician, who knows your history and your specific health circumstances. Take care of your heart. It is the only one you have.